an oscillator. Okay, and we're going to talk about that oscillator again, so you'll get to see it again. We're going to talk about the 555. I don't know if you have dealt with the 555 or not. Okay, good, good. All right, so we're going to talk about a timer chip. Thank you. Called the 555. It'll be an LM 555. And this timer chip, when hooked up correctly, will put out a square wave of a certain frequency. Now, we're going to study the capacitor on Thursday, and it actually turns out to be more important to this chip than the inductor, although you could put an inductor on it. But inside the chip, it uses the RC, which would be like the RL, the RC time constant to make the square wave with a little flip-flop that you're not familiar with yet, but you will be when we're done, okay? What I want you to know today is the LM555, when connected correctly on your breadboard, will put out a square wave, okay? And that's what we're looking for, is a square wave in our digital, but also in our classes here. We'll use that 555 a lot, because we'll build up little circuits and we'll have to generate a pulse.
Carol mentioned the same thing.
Yeah, well, and actually you're going to end up in the lab in there, which I'm going to do tomorrow, and we're going to talk about it in there, and it's very important in there. In our particular case, we might want to generate a circuit that does pulse width modulation. In other words, we might want to make a motor run at a lower speed, but we want to make sure it has the highest power output. Pulse width modulation, pulse width modulation, okay? So in our case, that's where we would use it, and then we'll want to know the RC time constant, or we could use RL if we wish to make a time constant to generate a square wave, run a circuit like a little amplifier that would run a motor or something, okay? Or whatever. We could pulse width modulate anything. We don't have to run a physical motor. That's where it's used a lot, but you can use pulse width modulation for a lot of different things in a circuit, okay? So the 555, we're going to introduce you to it. It's an 8-pin chip, and I'll introduce you to it more in the digital class, but it's an 8-pin chip. It is the most versatile oscillator in the world.